it's a bit difficult to talk about this functionality. So sometimes I describe this slip ring as R2D2. Why? Do you know the Star Wars R2D2? So that that revolving board. If for those who watch Star Wars, that the robot that follows Luke Skywalker around. So like if it's excited, you can see the R2D2 rotating its dome. So how do you exactly do that? It's actually through this component, right? So this component actually allows R2D2 to see the human, and respond accordingly. If it's excited, it will go very fast. It will still observe other people, observe some danger and all this, and then almost like a human react to the situation accordingly, right? Typically, if you think of robot, you think of so many mechanical parts, but a slip ring is such an elegant elegant component for any any advanced robotics or any system that requires a lot of revolving platforms that require electrical transmission.
Sean Yap is a sales engineer at a defense solutions provider in Singapore, and previously he was in the startup space after graduating from NUS Engineering Science. He also started his own startup which developed devices to automate pool maintenance for cleaner pools. Sean, I'm so glad that you could join me in this podcast where we can talk about your career and what's going on in your life right now.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew, for inviting me to your podcast. I think it's quite a pleasant invitation, and thanks for inviting me to share more about my experiences. So basically, a little bit more about myself. So back I actually started my business actually right out of school after I graduated from NUS Engineering Science. So that means after I wore the gown, went through the whole ceremony, got my cert. So I went into the startup space first as an intern for a small cleaning company, small cleaning startup before actually I started my startup on providing devices for automating disinfections at swimming pools. So actually fun fact is I didn't have a grad trip, just went into it and was hoping to not say hoping, but with the goal of trying at that point of time trying to do a successful business. So that was why I jumped into that. I wanted to give doing business a shot. It wasn't a very entirely pleasant experience. It was actually typically blood, sweat, and tears. There were disagreements, and also, but mainly also, as a inexperienced professional, you have to learn how to run a business on your own. You have to learn, how to develop the product, learn sales on your own. So everything for me in that 3 years that I ran my startup from late 2015 all the way to late 2018 and 2019, I was a first-time entrepreneur, first-time salesman, first-time engineer as well. Because I may have graduated with an engineering degree, but professionally, I'm not exactly well trained as some of my peers may be, especially some of them could be like senior engineers right now. So actually it's quite a steep slope, and at times while managing multiple roles, you really could get lost at different points of time and not keeping to a specific goal. And especially when you are desperate to hit the next target or try to progress your company further, you are focused at so much energies and effort at that moment to get things done. But I experienced losing certain kind of direction, why I'm in this space, why am I doing this way of doing things and all this. And it's both a mentality problem as well as a kind of a market problem as well. So there in late 2018, I think I decided that maybe I needed more experience uh, just to work for others, see how others run their companies, uh, run their business as well. And so I left. I think I ended the whole gig, and actually went to work for. Actually, I was working as a more of a freelance translator at that point of time. Happened to find another short term gig to assist another hardware startup in manufacturing in China. So I had to do a lot of translation and coordination work. Then finally, I got a full-time sales job in my current company.
Okay, what a journey. So you basically studied engineering and then you venture into startups, and it was a difficult time to navigate the kind of situation. And then after that, you left that scene and you went into freelancing before you finally found the current job that you have. So for those people who don't know what engineering is about, like for myself, right, because I study economics, can you give us a little bit more, some examples of what kind of projects do you guys do? What kind of problems do engineers solve? And or just give us like what is a day life? What is a day like for a typical engineer?
Hmm. Um, it depends on the industry as well. Maybe I just give a brief overview. It might not it's not a fully accurate in overview for disclaimer, but let me say this. So engineers actually they mainly apply the various applied sciences. I would say the applied the theories in applied sciences to solve uh, mainly various practical problems. For example, if you are a civil engineer, you have to ensure that the building doesn't collapse. So you need to understand, for example, how does the structure work against various weather elements such as wind, such as even mainly in Singapore it's wind, but in other countries could be other weather elements like rain and all these. Yeah. So then you talk about electrical engineer. Basically, he applies his understanding of circuitry and electrical components from the very basic electrical components, like the chips you see on your compute on your in your computer, the various kinds of capacitors, in inductors and all these. He has to understand all these. What are the functions to create? Maybe specific specific electrical board to do a specific function, like maybe run your computer, or maybe even like as small as just creating a USB-C chip. So that's what electrical engineers specifically do. So I think you can see where I'm coming from in terms of a day-to-day kind of engineering job in the various disciplines. Basically, they apply what they have learned in in theory from various uh, kinds of disciplines, and then solve the problems at hand.
Interesting. Okay, so tell us a bit more about what are your current career goals now that you're a sales engineer in a defense solutions provider. I can imagine there's a lot of practical problems to be solved using the theories that you learn in the textbook for your customers and for the company's customers. So yeah, tell us a bit more about what is your career goal right now.
So, a sales engineer is a little bit different from the various engineering professions that I've mentioned, like electrical engineers, civil engineers, because they are like, engineering for specific disciplines. That means they really go deep into this discipline and solve the problems related to that discipline as well. But for a sales engineer, so the first thing to take note is that we are primarily a salesman, but we are called sales engineers because we have to sell mainly equipment of certain level of technicalities, and our market is mainly towards end users that are also engineers as well. Typically, that's the case for most sales engineer jobs. So basically, our job scope is very much different from a typical engineer standpoint. Yes, we need to have the technical knowledge to understand how the product will work in our customer's system. Say, for example, if our customer is building like a control system and we are selling maybe a model, so we need to know how the model works in that system and why. And furthermore, because we are selling, a specific a model that belongs to our company, so we have to convince our end user, who is also an engineer, that says, hey, this there's certain benefits to it, and we to ask, like, what is the budget and all this. So within these budgets, you can enjoy certain benefit of this product. We can actually accommodate with this product for your system. So that's mainly the scope of work, understanding the customer requirements in terms of the technical aspects and finding an appropriate solution. But at the same time, because your solution may or may not be within budget, or you have to compete with other companies, so you have to convince your end user it's worthwhile buying whatever engineering solutions or engineering components you provide. Yep. So that's a sales engineer in general. So for me, yes. Sorry, let me continue on first. So in my current job, I mainly sell defense components related to electronic warfare systems. So mainly, my customers tend to come from design engineers, from research agencies, and a big system integrators. So I think maybe just show you some aspects of it, some components, I mean. Yep. No. I I wish I can do that, but I'm not. I don't sell specific to that system. Yep. And also, if we sell those kind of weapon systems, I think I can't share, so it's confidential. So okay, so these components are actually mock-ups. They don't have any electrical function at the moment because it's just for demo purposes to our own customers. So if you can see this, right, this component is called a slip ring. All right. So yeah. So as you can see, this slip ring has wires and various kind of wires, and basically you can see this turning and all this. So functionality wise is a slip ring to a system engineer is he because he needs to build a revolving system, and he needs to manage the data transmission on top of a revolving, maybe say a revolving platform, and transfer data to maybe a computer, for example. So this this slip ring does that for him in a very nice manner. So you can see here, these wires may be connected to maybe a camera, and then the camera can be rotating this way to take whatever pictures, or maybe do a 360 surveillance streaming. And then, at the other end here, you can see that these wires can be connected to, say, maybe your laptop, if you have the program to interpret the various data that was collected by the camera. So usually they will collect some data and then transmit into the laptop to typically, a typical embedded system to collect data for their purpose. If sometimes I go out, to socialize at the bar and all this, it's a bit difficult to talk about this functionality. So sometimes I describe this slip ring as R2D2. Why? Do you know the Star Wars R2D2? So that that revolving board. If for those who watch Star Wars, that the robot that follows Luke Skywalker around, it belonged to another Jedi, but so there was this robot called R2D2, and it was almost a human expressive robot. It can interact with a human, but the thing is, to build a robot that interacts with a human, you need the robot to take in data and transmit data back again at the same time in real time, and it's almost instantaneous. So if it's excited, you can see the R2D2 rotating its dome. So how do you exactly do that? It's actually through this component, right? So this component actually allows R2D2 to see the human, and respond accordingly. If it's excited, it will go very fast. It will still observe other people, observe some danger and all this, and then almost like a human react to the situation accordingly, right? Typically, if you think of robot, you think of so many mechanical parts, but a slip ring is such an elegant elegant component for any any advanced robotics, or any system that requires a lot of revolving platforms that require electrical transmission. Yeah, so Yep. Yep, and usually they will follow with a motor, because you need to move that rotating platform. So yeah, so typically in a cross-selling project, if someone wants a slip ring, I probably will ask whether you need a motor as well. Typically, the engineer cannot leave out a motor in his design, so no harm asking if he needs a motor, and if really he needs, my deal value becomes bigger. Another rare component that is not seen by the public eye, or not normal eye, is mainly seen in most military systems, is a rugged Ethernet switch. Okay, so rugged means something that is, it can withstand very harsh environments. So in the military setting, we talk about harsh environments like high temperature, vibration resistant, because you talk about installing in tanks, we talk about installing in fighter jets, or in just typically avionic, typically in aircraft. So now then the next thing is about Ethernet switch. If you think about it, Ethernet switch is like your router you find at home, right? If you look at your router, right, it's like you see like a few LAN ports and the LAN wires put inside the router, but this doesn't look like your typical home router, right? But the funny thing is your home router maybe have very few ports, like maybe 3 or 4 Ethernet ports. This guy has at least 10 Ethernet ports and 2 fiber channels. That means it can do Ethernet transmission and fiber transmission between electrical components in a military electronic system. Yeah, but it's really this is just so there's one side here where that's where all the ports are. So typically I don't have any bunch of wire to show you, but if you can visualize, typically when you connect through this port, right, then there will be because this is a military connector, so there will be like a cable. You will have a bunch of cable where all the different wires actually bundled together to actually connect into this port here. So, and those are not your typical wires you see at your router or you see at the data center. It's actually like they have to really strip the wire and then ensure that they can fit into a specific connector on the other side to link up with this switch here. So think of it as a very small and mini router for your military applications. Yeah.
Nice. So these are just general components that is available in the market, right? It is not necessarily a company proprietary technology or
No,
proprietary.
at the defense solution provider that I'm at, we actually represent a lot of military manufacturers in US as well as in Europe. So these components that we see here are from our various manufacturers in these continents. Of course, it's not this. I mean, you can go to their website and they have data sheets for this kind of components. No problem. You can actually take a look for geeking out. But I think so there's nothing to worry about anything proprietary to that, because what is shown is shown. If something proprietary, our manufacturers have kept it on their site. And normally for our customer projects, we a lot of times we have to sign NDA, and at the same time also we have to be careful of what we of the details that we are handling from our customer project. So sometimes our customer only tell us one part of the probably a subsystem. Can you find a suitable part and see whether this suitable part is able to fit into the system, and for us we have to sell them why you have to pay this amount of money for this part, because this kind of part here we are not talking about 3-4 digits, we are talking about at least 5 digits. Yep. Yep. But I mean, for this, maybe this about 4 digits. Yeah, about 4 digits. It's because I think it's because of for this it's because they build it to a certain environment, as well as you pay for the space savings for the systems that you are installing this into. That means like we help for this component, we help system engineers to save space in their systems. Like for example, there's a lot of unmanned aerial vehicle projects in in Singapore and in Southeast Asia, and typically in an unmanned aerial vehicle, you want things to be compact. You want your vehicle to be lightweight, at the same time be a cool ass machine. So that's why people need to appreciate space and weight savings, especially you get 10 ports. You look at your router at a home now, it's only maybe 5 ports, but this is 10 ports and 2 fiber channels as well. There's actually a 20 port variant as well, around the same size as well.
Wow, okay. Was well, I really didn't expect that you would bring these gadgets and devices to show us. So clearly, you're very passionate about these things that you're selling, and how do you actually understand how these things work? Is it based on your engineering background that you can use the theories that you have learned to approach any devices, just so that you can read the data sheets or something like that to understand how it works?
Yes, I think yes. We have to learn how to interpret the data sheets. Even though we work with engineers as well, we cannot expect them to understand the whole data sheet, because what our manufacturers think their customer understand, and what our customers in Singapore and in Southeast Asia understand is sometimes two different worlds. So we have to interpret, and there are times where for electromechanical parts, like this slip ring over here, we and for motors as well, we have to do some calculations as well. And we have to work out with our manufacturer whether these calculations do make sense in the circumstance of our customers' system and all this. And also because we also need to take note of environment as well. Say for example, if you're providing a component for an underwater vehicle, so you need to understand the environment that vehicle is in, the depth, the payload, the weight of the vehicle as well. So these are things from different customer projects in our company. We need to adapt accordingly to their system requirements, and understand what are the different technical aspects we have to understand along with, and then feedback to our manufacturer and work out whether the solution makes sense or not.
Okay, thank you for that. So coming back to your own career, now that you're dealing with so many devices and appliances, tell me a bit more about what are your career goals in terms of where you want to go, what you want to do in future.
Okay, so for my career goals, I think in the long term, I still want to get back to business again. I think business is always an exciting journey, despite the various ups and downs that I faced back in my first 3 years of my career. When you mix around with typically other entrepreneurs, sometimes from time to time in your life, you get that kind of some defiant energy, that you really want to make things work. So I think for the long term, I would like to do a business again. But I think that must come with certain level of experience, and also probably I would like to start. Probably will look at a technology-based business. So I think I think that will be a long-term goal for me. I think medium-term wise is to be a to be strong in technical sales, as well as working on a higher level, meaning to say that we work with various C levels, not just in Singapore but also in Southeast Asia, and this stem a little from my current experiences in my company. So as you know that we don't just serve Singapore, we also serve Southeast Asia, and typically in serving Southeast Asian customers like in Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand. That their level of first of all, the level of English isn't that high, and second is the way they understand technical various technicalities, be it in the data sheet or in the um, or in how they interpret the system is a bit different. So it's interesting to work with them. Interesting to learn about how they do their work in their own country as well. And especially, we always say, that Singapore needs to serve the world, needs to serve the region. And I think, I look at, some of the projects in this region, be it in the military or in the aerospace region. I think in terms of R&D is quite exciting, especially once this COVID crisis has tide over. People will go back to focusing on the various innovative projects they were on, and it will be very exciting to work with them because the scale they are doing things at is a bit different from Singapore, and we shouldn't underestimate their capability to do various defense or aerospace systems for their applications.
So in the short and medium term, you basically want to build up on your expertise in technical sales. Then in the long term, you eventually want to go back to business in the technology space. And it's really interesting because I want to learn what are some of the experiences that you've had that you believe would really enable you to do well in these areas, technical sales and entrepreneurship.
I think my thoughts. I think I'm still a little bit inexperienced to say exactly what are the key aspects and experiences that someone would need to excel in technical sales here, because it's still early in my journey. But maybe, for instance, is first of all understanding the customer, and because in this kind of line am I in, we need to get buy-in very early, and we need to learn how to get buy-in at not just on the end user level, but we need to get buy-in on the C level, because although we are mainly dealing with the end user all the time, they have someone behind them that approves the budget. So I think this level of understanding for any technical sales has to be there, and it's a more of a sales based skill, sales based experience rather than a technical based experience. On the technical side now, I think it's more like if let's say the sales engineer or the technical sales exec is able to understand the technical details of basically of a product or solution that he's selling in a way that he is almost like an end user. That means he knows how the end user is planning to use the product or solution in whatever he wants to do. That is very advantageous, and that is actually experience that needs to be built on the field. As it's not something that I would say have to come in and get it on the first try. I think after years in this particular industry, as well as the years I spent in doing sales in my own company, I think that kind of experience to know what the customer is doing with a specific solution or not is something that it has to be built up over time, and I think it's going to be a valuable thing, because it will make you stand out from other sales representative who will probably just read out from their quotes or from their slides and all this. Maybe one example to share is, let's say, for example, website development. So right now, as you know, in the website development space, there's a lot of business going on, digitization of business. Sorry, this is a bit no independent of what I'm doing, but I wanted to showcase at this point. So I meet, junior. I not say meet, but I've seen junior salesmen or junior BDA try to convince the customer on why they should choose a company to develop the website. And everyone was just saying, oh, because we got the grant, we can do, and the grant covers this. But if you compare that pitch to someone more senior, someone who has the ground experience of not just working the website, but convincing customers about why they need to revamp the website, this a very senior guy would go through what are the weaknesses of the website. Your website are lacking this and all this, and you have been using the wrong plugins to develop certain function of website. Maybe I offer you a different solution that you find more relevant to your own digital needs. So I think that is the kind of that is the level of experience that will be very crucial to actually convince more customers and become a better salesman.
Thank you for that. Well, it sounds like you're super passionate about this area. So can you just share with me, in a nutshell, why are you so passionate about the things that you do? Or maybe just this whole concept of engineering and going to business. What makes you so passionate about these things?
Well, this is a very tough question. I do not know what is the do not know what's the best explanation for this. I think it's just me. It's just personally for me putting the effort into doing things. Because we have so much time in the day to make things happen. So why not try to make the best use of time. But also, on now that I think about it, because I've went through a few different roles: technical sales, operations, product development. I would say that all these roles have there are things that I like or don't, and I don't like, and there are things that I don't like as well. So I think for technical sales it's a challenging job, but it's so rewarding in terms of course, first the money, but I think it's the impact you deliver to your customers. I think in technical sales, especially in my line, sometimes it's not about completing the sale. We have to actually make sure that the whatever solution that we propose works. That's the most important thing.
All right. Thank you, Sean, for sharing with me your passion in engineering. Any last words on how people can get to know you better, and what resources would you recommend people to read up if they are interested in this topic?
I think for sales, just basically sales, I think there are plenty of books available online. Not say online, sorry. Plenty of books that people can actually read. Like for example, I think spin selling, challenger sale, as well as predictable revenue. So these are the kind of books that they can start reading on sales in general. Technical sales wise, there's no specific book that I can think of at the moment. But from time to time, there are actually some LinkedIn articles that I read, and I also do follow sales mentors and coaches on LinkedIn as well. And I think more importantly is to try to I think for me personally is if I want to really proceed proceed further by leaps and bounds, I think coaches could be one way. I think also people for my advice to people trying to do sales is don't be scared as well, because I think uh, sales is something that people can get can get stage fright and all these kind of nerves. So, but I think I always tell people to try out sales for a while, because this is something that is challenging and is out of your comfort zone.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you, Sean, for coming onto the show, and look forward to talk to you again.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Hope to see you and hope to have a coffee with you.